Hey everybody, it's Kim. I wanted to just make a quick video, kind of go live here, and just kind of be real for a second. This morning in our challenge group, I made a post about success and how the pathway to success is not what we think. We like to think that it's just you start and you just straight on all the way up to the top, and it's just not like that. I don't know why any of us think it is. I thought it was, but success is actually so much more like that. And you stumble, you take a step forward and you fall back. You decide you're going to make a positive change in your life and start something. You're going to sign up for that class or go back to school or lose that weight, join a challenge group. You're going to build a business. You're going to, whatever it may be, that you make this positive change and, okay, I'm going to go back to church and, try to fix this relationship. And then, life happens like it always does. I always see it as a coach that like somebody will sign up for a challenge group or start coaching or they make a positive change, and then instantly there's like pushback every single time. It's like something comes up right off the bat to stand in their way. Like somebody doesn't want them to make that change or doesn't want them to make progress. And so often we let that voice convince us that, oh, well, then this wasn't for me, or this must not be the right time. I'm not meant to do that. And it's crazy because that's the voice that we have to fight. And we have to realize, so many times I deal with clients and customers who say to me, well, I hope it's going to be better this time, or I really hope nothing comes up this time to stand in my way. And I always just want to say in a loving way, like, it's not about hoping. Like, it's not, I hope I can do better, or I'm going to try. It's, I'm going to do it this time. That has to be your attitude, that I can do this and I will do this. Because if you give yourself that out, if you give yourself the option to give up or to, excuse the expression, half-ass it, or to, that's exactly what you'll do. You're setting yourself up for failure off the bat. You're giving yourself an out or an option to not succeed with it. And that will determine your success. That will ultimately mean that you probably won't be successful because you're already giving yourself that out, that exit door if you need it. And so I really want to kind of empower people to say, like, if you want to be successful, then off the bat, you say, I commit, I go all in, and I'm not giving up. And there's going to be tough days. When people say to me, I really hope something doesn't come up to stand in my way, I'm going to say, I'm going to be honest with you. Although I hope that it doesn't either, I can promise you that it will. Because that's just the world we live in. We have trouble here. We have hardship. We have struggle. We have busyness. We have a lot on our plates. And, you can get sick. Your kids can get sick. Something financially might come up. The holidays. It's a busy time of year. But I can guarantee you something unexpected at work. Something in your family. It's just things happen. And they always will. Which is why if we wait for the perfect time to start something, the perfect circumstances to get going, we'll be waiting forever. And so I think that you just have to make it the right time. You have to just get yourself to that point that you're so sick and tired of the way you've been living that it's not an option to keep living that way anymore, that you don't have a choice. You have to do this. And that's where I was when I started coaching. But I wanted to share with you quickly tonight that when I signed up to coach, my family had a huge financial why. We were in debt. We were nowhere near getting our first house. We knew we wanted to have another baby, but we felt like we would never be able to do that at the rate we were going. And although God was working on our behalf and I trusted him, and we'd come a long way with practicing and applying Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University principles, and we were working really hard. We'd been really humble. We were sacrificing a lot, but it just wasn't happening fast enough, not nearly as fast as it needed to. And I knew I could do more. I knew I could contribute to our family's finances, but it just wasn't, like I said, it wasn't coming together quick enough. And so I prayed and I prayed, and this opportunity with Beachbody fell in my lap, along with a ton of other MLL things that I was not interested in because they were all really salesy, and I thought Beachbody would be salesy too. And so I wrote it off and I said, no, thank you. And I looked into it, and there was things about it that interested me, but ultimately I felt like it boiled down to a sales job, and that wasn't me. So I told the girl no, and I went back to my life, and I was praying and praying, and it was still on my heart for months. And it was the only thing that stayed on my heart. And as I kept praying, God, take this off and give me something else, it was still there. And I ultimately had to realize, like, maybe this is how he's trying to provide for me. Maybe that's why it's not going anywhere. And although I had all my questions and all my doubts and hesitations, I took the leap of faith because I was in a place where I didn't have, beggars can't be choosers, and I just couldn't be picky anymore. I needed to pick something, anything, and I needed to make it work. And it's us that makes something work. So I did, and I decided to commit and go all in. And I would only know in a year's time. I committed that I would do it for a year. And if I didn't love it, or I didn't make some money and I didn't enjoy it, whatever, if it wasn't for me, then I could quit and feel like, okay, it's fine because I gave it my all. But I refused to be the quitter that I had always been before I ever even gave it a chance. And so I went all in. I signed up. I did everything I was supposed to do. And let me tell you, those first few months were so hard to do all the right things and be doing everything I was told to do and not have it give me, the reward for that. Who wants to work without getting paid, right? Nobody. And I just felt like I wasn't making the money that I wanted to, but I had been told it's not a get rich quick scheme. It takes some time. You got to build trust. And so I was really struggling to stick with it. And I had many opportunities to give up, obstacles that came up. My son stopped napping. It got harder to find the time to do it. I got sick in the middle of insanity and felt like maybe I should give up and start over. And I had obstacles too. My husband's job was crazy. And then when we ended up later, fast forward a while, finding a job finding a house, our very first house, and starting the process of looking and closing and meeting with mortgage people and lenders and all this stuff. It was so overwhelming. And then moving, and I didn't even feel like I could handle a workout program at that time, let alone building a business. But I found a way to do it no matter what, because I made it a non-negotiable part of my day. Just like I expect my challengers to find a way to make it a non-negotiable part of their day so that health and fitness becomes a lifestyle for them. That's the way to keep it a permanent change, and that's the way to ultimately achieve our goals to be successful. And so, but I had to tell you that, like, there were so many failures along the way to getting where I am right now as a coach. And I'll admit that where I am right now, it's not anywhere where I want to be. I want to be so much higher up. But I have to look back when we're too hard on ourselves and we judge ourselves and we're just kind of like I'm not where I want to be. It makes us doubt. It makes us want to give up. We get down, and that's not the voice we want to listen to. So we have to do the things to fill our mind with positive thoughts and affirmations. And so I look back and I think, gosh, I've fumbled with my first few coaches. I was overbearing and I over communicated, and I was more forceful because I really wanted it for them, but I wanted it more for them than they wanted it for themselves even. And I kind of was so quick to try to make them do it my way because I felt like my way was the right way. And I had a lot to learn about becoming a better leader, and I still do. I always will. But man, have I come a long way in learning how to communicate better, learning how to lead better, and empowering people and not enabling that. It's just such a growth journey. But I had goals, and I can't tell you how many I've missed. I have hit milestones in my business and hit big ranks and dropped in rank. And it has just been a constant up and down and back and forth. And so many times I've been so defeated and discouraged. So many times when I got pregnant and I was so sick and tired all day, every day, the last thing I wanted to do was work. And I wanted to give it up, but I didn't. There was always something holding me there. And it was that why. It was that when I first signed up, I didn't ever want to go back to being that girl again. I didn't want to go back to that place financially. I didn't want to go back to the person who had always given up on everything. And so I refused to. And that's just where you need to get yourself to that place. And to remind yourself that you're not who you once were, and that no matter how slow you go, you're still on your way and you're still making progress. And progress is what matters. It's all that matters. It's not perfection, it's progress. And so I can look and say that even though as I've journeyed with, Beachbody and coaching, and I've gone forward and I've taken steps back, and I've lost coaches, and I've made mistakes, and I've done, just communicated in the wrong way, or not been there for someone when I should have been, even though I was trying to be. And as I've learned and stepped back and stumbled forward and then back, at least I was always here versus still down here. So I'd still making progress. And that journey to success, like I said, it's not a straight shot. There's no elevator success. You have to take the stairs. And all the people that are the most successful athletes and entrepreneurs, movie stars, everything in the world, they failed so many more times. We look at them and think, oh, it was easy for them. No, like they failed so many times. It's like that Thomas Edison quote that I love. I think, and it was like, I didn't find, thousands of ways, to, or I found thousands of ways not to make a light bulb. And it's so true. Like, it's such a positive way to look at it. Like, instead of just being like, gosh, I failed this many times, it was like, no, this many times I figured out how not to do it. And that's what I can say about myself. I figured out so many ways not to do this, and so many ways that were mistakes, and so many ways that won't work. But by doing that, if I just refuse to give up, then I use those things to learn and to grow and to become better. And that's what we have to do. So I hope, that you will take something from this that will apply to your life, and just know that whatever change you're trying to make in your life, or changes, if there's more than one, that it won't ever be a straight, easy shot to the top. It's just going to be something that takes time and continuous effort and unwavering dedication to it. You have to stay committed to yourself and not let that voice of negativity and doubt get the best of you. You have to have faith in yourself. And that is the fitness that really matters, is that faith, because without it, you will never reach your goals, be them their fitness goals, be them like anything else, financial goals, anything. You just have to refuse to give up and have that faith in yourself, even when every part of you wants to question it. Know that there is something inside of you that is greater than any obstacle, and that no matter how many times you fall down or stumble or feel like you're going backwards, or if it's, I tell my challengers all the time, if you have a terrible round or terrible 21-day challenge grouper, you mess up your eating, just because, like, it doesn't mean that you have to just let it all go. Don't use it as an out. Just use it to propel you forward, back in the direction. You never ever have to give up. It's your choice if you do or if you keep going. And I know that after last year, I failed to win the honeymoon cruise that I thought, like a cruise with Beachbody that I thought would be our honeymoon. I worked so hard for it, and I was so disappointed that I didn't make it. That I wasn't asked off the wait list and couldn't go. But if I would have given up, I never would have been asked off this year like I just was. I never would have been able to go. And I can't tell you how excited I am, but I never would have seen it. And I have to wonder how many blessings, how many of our goals we've just never seen come to fruition because we gave up too fast. And I don't want to be that person anymore. I don't want to live that life anymore. So no matter how many difficulties and setbacks and disappointments and missed goals along the way that there are, I will not stop, because I know that if I simply refuse to quit, I will get there and I will reach my goals, and so will you. So I hope that this speaks to you. I hope this helps you in some way, and that you realize that if you're full of, your story's full of disappointments or setbacks or failures, that you are not alone, and that you can do it. You just have to stick it out long enough and surround yourself with personal development books and positive voices, motivation. Listen to it on the way to work. Listen to it on the way home. Surround yourself with people, positive people, who are going to pull you up and empower you, because it will make a difference. And start filling your mind with those positive thoughts, having faith in yourself no matter what. And you will be one of the very few ones that does successfully create a life of your dreams, one day at a time.